Hello everyone, and welcome back to Full Recovery. We have entered a brand new year, 2022, and I can't believe that in just a few months, we will be celebrating 2 years having this channel on YouTube. And I didn't know in the beginning how long it would last. I thought maybe we'll do this for a few weeks or a few months. And now we're nearing 2 years. And I'm just so thankful for all of you who watch and provide some feedback on this channel. It's been fun. It's been an education, and it's been something that I've enjoyed. And so I'm just so thankful for those of you who are hanging in there with me. Over the last few weeks, it's been a little bit hectic here, and so I have not posted a new video in some time, but now we're going to be back in the swing of things here in the new year. Today, the subject that we're going to talk about is something that I think is important. It is vital and something that isn't talked about a lot among Christian women. And frankly, it should be talked about a lot more than it is. And that is the subject of friends. And, through the years, obviously I was a teenager that grew up in church. And I remember that when I was a teenager, lots of the sermons I heard at camps or youth rallies or places like that were about friends and the importance of friends, how they influence you to do right or to do wrong, and how you need to exercise judgment in making friends and having close friends. Somewhere along the line, that teaching stops when we reach adulthood. And what I have found in my life and in those with whom I'm related or associated, it is almost more important, I would say as important or maybe even more important, who your friends are as you are an adult. The influence that they have on you is paramount, and also just you can't calculate it sometimes what you will do at either the encouragement or the discouragement of a friend. And so I want to talk about that today. In fact, we're going to delve into that a little bit over the next several videos. Friends, our relationships and friendships as women and what they mean to us. And today I want to talk about two special friends that were a help to me during this past year. And it was as though God just placed them there when He knew I would need them the most. And both of these women are kind of like big sisters to me. We've been friends for a very long time. They have been friends for much longer than I've even known both of them. But I have been friends with both of them for decades. And at this time, they have become really more like sisters to me. I do have wonderful friends, and even in our church family, I have wonderful friends. I have wonderful friends that I went to college with. I have some younger friends, and in fact, one of my younger friends, it's really more like a younger sister to me, a baby sister, sent me this mug for Christmas, and I've got my coffee in it this afternoon. And that's Lacey and Lacey McCrae. And if I started mentioning the friends that I have, I would certainly overlook someone very special. So I'm not going to do that. But I do want to name the two friends in this last year that were with me at a time when I would say I was desperate. I am not a person who panics. I am not a person who has panic attacks. To my knowledge, before this year, I never had a panic attack. I have never run out on a situation. Through when I was a young person, situations with our family or my mom's health through my teenage years. And then, of course, 12 years ago now, almost, dealing with my husband's illnesses and amputations and those things. I have never run out on a situation or even wanted to. I am the type of person who, I'm not saying this to toot my own horn. We all have strengths and weaknesses. And certainly I will and have revealed my weaknesses, and I will reveal a big moment of weakness in this video. But one of my strengths, I feel, is to buck up under pressure and excel and conquer. I don't consider myself somebody who endures things. I like to conquer things, and I like to win and be victorious. However, this year, an earlier month of the year, last year, I found myself in a situation, and again, I cannot give you details, and I hate it when somebody is talking and it's a situation like that. But if I could tell you, you would understand. But it's a situation where I would never want to hurt the other person involved, or their family. But I found myself in a room where I encountered someone that I had not encountered since I was a young person, and it kind of threw me for a loop in that moment. They were involved in a very negative situation in my life when I was young. I had not had any warning that I would encounter them. And so I am sitting in this location and really and truly panicked. My heart was racing. I don't recall ever having heart palpitations like that before, like literally where you think you're going to have a heart attack, unless I was, playing sports or something. But even then, I've never thought I was going to have a heart attack. But in that moment, I couldn't breathe. My heart was racing. My mouth had a very metal taste. And I thought any moment I need to leave or I'm going to make a scene. And in that moment, a very, like I said, really a big sister to me, Linda Vapperzan was there with me. And right away, she sensed what was happening. And she very kindly lent me her strength and her presence of mind until I could get mine back. And she prayed for me. She pulled for me. She didn't judge me. She lent me her strength until I could regain my own. The second circumstance, I also can't give many details, but I found myself in another situation where I really did run out of the room as soon as I could. And I went to the ladies' restroom in this restaurant where this second event happened later in the year. And my friend, another really closer to big sister, Debbie Young, came into the ladies' room after me. And again, no judgment, no even, come on, you can do this, get over yourself. There was none of that. She very kindly just listened to me and didn't say, this isn't a big deal. No, she acknowledged this is a huge deal. And I'm sorry you have to go through this. And said some very encouraging things for me. And in that moment, lent me her strength until I could get my own, really get the Lord's strength back in me. And able to then endure the next few minutes. These friends and many others that I have in my life are invaluable. You just can't put a price on those kinds of friendships. Those close bonds where you know each other's thoughts and there's nothing but love coming from your heart to theirs. And you care and you have empathy and compassion. And those moments are priceless. In Luke 15, Jesus gives us a story of, actually it's 3 different stories. There's a story of a lost sheep, a lost coin, and then a lost son. But I want to talk about that middle story, the lost coin. And we find in Luke 15, verse 8, either what woman, having 10 pieces of silver, if she lose one piece, doth not light a candle and sweep the house and seek diligently till she find it. And when she hath found it, she calleth her friends and her neighbors together, saying, Rejoice with me, for I have found the peace which I had lost. I think this phrase in the Bible is so sweet. She called her friends. And there's several reasons for that, which we're going to talk about. But I have a lot of friends who, I love to tell a funny joke too when I hear it. Or of course, the number one friend I have in those kinds of situations is always Joe, my husband. I want to tell him all the interesting, funny, whatever things first. And so he's number one. But I also have a lot of girlfriends that I would like to share things with, funny things, humorous things. And each of those friends will send a meme or something funny or even something political, depending on who it is. But I have a lot of friends that I love interacting with, and friends that I know if I send them something funny, they're going to send me a quip back and it's going to make me chuckle. Or sometimes they'll just do it on their own. But I like to make them laugh. I like to share good things. I don't ever want to be a negative. And even, of course, as I shared a moment ago, this past year, I had times of struggle where I needed to reach out and say, can you pray for me about this? I'm struggling. Or even in those two moments where I faced huge, to me, insurmountable feelings of helplessness and hopelessness. Having friends there to encourage me was something that I will never forget. However, when you are choosing friends and you are, and don't forget, friends are chosen. We choose to spend the amount of time with a certain person, or we choose to make a stronger connection with somebody. We choose also to not do that, to not have strong relationships and strong friendships. We make those choices. But I find it interesting that this woman, though she had 9 coins, when she found the one that she had lost, she called her friends. And there are several reasons for that. It's so interesting she called her friends. She called her friends because she knew they were worried about that lost coin. She called her friends because they had probably been praying that she would find it. She called her friends because they had probably helped her search for it. She called her friends because she knew they wouldn't be jealous over the 9 other gold coins that she still had. She called her friends because she knew they would all be ecstatically happy for her. She called her friends because she knew her friends would be just that, friends. So I had some thoughts about this lady who called her friends, and things that I decided to ask myself. Not if I was the woman who had found the coin. Of course, I know who I would call and say, first of all, can you pray with me? I lost my coin. But I also know who I would call to say, rejoice with me, I have found this coin. But would I be the person that somebody called when they found it? And I decided to ask myself some questions. Number 1, can my friends call on me? Proverbs 18:24 says, a man that hath friends must show himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. Am I genuinely there for my friends? Do they know they can call, and I won't make them feel like it's an inconvenience or a drudgery to me? Do I respond to their texts or messages in a timely fashion? Now, that's a tough one because, boy, we're all busy. But even if I can't respond in the moment, if I get a text from a friend saying, can you pray about this? I stop immediately and pray. And then when I get a chance to text them back, I prayed for you and I will continue to pray for you. I have a spot in my home where I put important prayer requests so that I don't forget to pray for them and I'm reminded to pray for them. But I want my friends to know that their needs are important to me. I don't want to be the kind of friend to whom a friend can send a text and then think, maybe I shouldn't even bother. No, I want to be the friend that they think of when they need someone to pray, primarily when they need someone to pray, but also when they just need someone to engage. Can they count on me? Do they call on me? You know, I've talked about this many times with in the subject of prayer. How do you know if people think of you as a prayer warrior or not? Well, the easy question to ask yourself in that realm is, do they ever ask you to pray? Do your children ask you to pray? And if they don't, that may be an indication that no one thinks of you in that way. Well, that's an easy fix. You pray for people and you tell them you're praying for them. And you ask them, is there anything that I can pray for you about today? And then you contact them to see if anything has come to that prayer request. Did you get the answer you were looking for? Boy, it's so easy to brush people's prayer requests aside. But we've got to pray, and we've got to be that kind of friend. Next, am I concerned about the needs of my friends? The Bible says in Galatians 6:2, bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. Bear ye one another's burdens. Do I pass off the needs of my friends as them, they're just being dramatic again? Do I take the time to listen to their concerns and their cares? Do I truly listen with the intent to hear or just to answer? Boy, that's symptomatic of society today, listening to answer. You can see the wheels turning when you're talking with somebody who's just a listener to answer. If they're just, barely hanging on to what you're saying so that they can respond. And an easy indication of somebody that's like that is if you're talking with somebody and they ask you a question and they, I tried that. Somebody who immediately starts to yes you to death, they're not listening to hear. They're listening to answer. And though as women, we may be formulating the solution that they need within the first 0.7 seconds of a conversation, it's important that the person who's telling us be heard. They need to have their concerns validated and their issues be made to feel that they're important when they're discussing something like that, something crucial or something that they need help with or prayer for. Am I concerned about the needs of my friends? Next, do I earnestly pray for my friends' needs? Job 2:12, and when they lifted up their eyes afar off and knew him not, they lifted up their voice and wept, and they rent every one his mantle and sprinkled dust upon their heads toward heaven. For 7 days, the book of Job tells us, Job's friends were model friends. They did exactly what friends should do. They behaved in a manner exactly how friends should behave. They sat with Job and they listened in silence. But the moment Job just had to vent for a minute, those friends could not bear it. And that's when they became the worst friends that have ever been recorded in the history of mankind. They couldn't just let him get it off his chest, what had happened to him, just to air it a little bit. Do I earnestly pray for my friends' needs? Do I click like on a Facebook post about a prayer request and then completely push it out of my mind? Do I take the time to reach out and check in to see if that prayer has been answered? Do my friends feel that they need to let me know about an answer to prayer because they know I've been praying? We so often leave prayer requests just completely open-ended. And then maybe, months later, we're like, boy, I wonder whatever happened with that. Well, the whole point of praying for a friend's need and being earnest about it and fervent about it is to find out when that's resolved. No one likes to be a nudge. I don't like it. I don't, I used that word with a friend this week and they're like, I don't know what you mean by that. No one likes to be a bother. No one likes to be that burr under somebody's saddle. But when you're praying for somebody and they know you've been praying and you want them to know you've been praying, asking about a resolution is not being a nudge. It is showing care and concern and love. And, you know, Facebook is wonderful for that. I mean, social media certainly has its negatives. But a prayer request can go around the world in moments. And people can be praying before it's even reached the next time zone. And how wonderful is that? But do we just click on a post and say, I'll type that I'm praying, but, you know, I'll get to it later. And then we never do. We might as well just admit to ourselves, we're being dishonest. My practice is, at this point in my life, because I do forget a lot of things, at this point in my life, I will click on the post and immediately before I type any comment, pray for that person. Stop and pray. And then write it down in a notebook somewhere or something to remind yourself. I don't understand comments like praying as I type. Well, because you're either typing or you're praying, but you can't do both. Or something along those lines. No, stop and pray. And if you're going to comment, I'm praying for you, then actually do it. Maybe your habit is to type it and then pray, but actually do it and remember those things in prayer. Don't be a friend who just completely brushes it off, but earnestly pray. Next, am I jealous over the successes of my friends? Job 3:3-5. Behold, thou hast instructed many, and thou hast strengthened the weak hands. Thy words have upholden him that was falling, and thou hast strengthened the feeble knees. But now it has come upon thee, and thou faintest. It toucheth thee, and thou art troubled. Boy, can't you just hear the snarkiness there? I mean, what a chip on the shoulder. Just jealous of everything good that had ever happened to Job. And now his friends come and they see his calamity, and now all they can think to do is rub it in. I want to be the person that rejoices when good things happen to my friends, when they have good things happen in their families, in their ministries, in their jobs, with their children, with their grandchildren. I want to be happy that they have encountered those good things in life and not be jealous over it. My good times have come in the past, and I will have more good times in the future. And when my friend tells me that bit of good news about them, I may not be having a good time in that moment, but I can rejoice with them because they are. And they are having a wonderful, wonderful time. I just had a friend build a brand new, beautiful home. I love this for her. She is just a wonderful decorator and homemaker and just a wonderful person. And I could not be happier for her. And if you did not know my friend Julie, a few years ago, you would not know that she has and is overcoming what I believe is quite possibly the greatest heartache any person endures in this life, and that is the loss of a child. But I'm happy for her because she's been given this blessing of a wonderful, beautiful new home. I haven't seen it yet in person. Hope to do that soon. But I'm just so happy for her. Now, we're not all going to have friends that go through such extreme difficulties and extreme happy times. But whatever those endure in our circles, can we not be happy with each other? I read a statement that somebody put on Facebook a few days ago, and it's an older statement. I'm sure we've all seen it a million times. But real friends fix each other's crowns. And I like that. Not that I think of myself as noble or royal in any way, But I do enjoy being around those people who don't want to knock me down, and I don't want to knock them down. I enjoy people who want to be builders. The wise woman buildeth her house. And that includes relationships. I want to be a builder. My word for 2021 was edify. And I really tried to do that throughout the last year. It was not easy. It was not always easy. But I tried to do that. In building others, I helped to build myself. And I'm grateful for that. Next, do I genuinely rejoice when my friends are happy? Romans 12:15, rejoice with them that do rejoice and weep with them that weep. This is along the lines of point number 4, but rejoicing over their happiness. Yes, and also those times of sadness too, when you grieve with those that you love that are grieving. But sometimes that's the easy part. When somebody's having although Job's friends did not find it easy, did they? So I don't know. I don't know that it's so easy, but I think for us as women, we are very empathetic and we are compassionate, and our hearts go out to those who are having a difficult time that we know and love. And so it may be just a little bit easier for us to put our arm around a friend and say, I'm so sorry this is happening, but I'm here for you. It's those times when our friends have extremely happy occasions to rejoice, where that root of bitterness or jealousy may spring up from time to time, and we say, oh, man, why can't good things like that ever happen to me? And the cure for that, really and truly, is to immediately turn on your gratitude. Be grateful for what you do have that is going well, that is happy in your life. And realize that that's what that person is doing too. They're not putting it in your face. They're not rubbing it in that they have something. I have a friend who got a brand new vehicle this last year, but said, I don't feel like I can post about it because I don't want to make these people upset. And I thought, man, are we really that awful that somebody can't just post about a new vehicle that the Lord gave them, and because we're afraid other people are not going to rejoice with us? And you know what? Sometimes it's not even those tangible things that we get the most jealous over. Sometimes it's someone's relationship, someone's marriage, or their relationship with their child, or in-law relationships, or grandchildren. Sometimes it's those things where we find ourselves extremely jealous and covetous. But those are not good situations to be in. We need to be rejoicing with those that have reasons to rejoice that we know and love. It'll be our turn again, and they'll rejoice with us. But in the meantime, I want to be that person to whom somebody can tell good news, and I will be happy, and I will be genuinely concerned and care for them. My mom spent her life being a collector of friends. She did not have very many possessions. In fact, just recently, I've had memories flooding back of when my family moved from Dothan, Alabama to Canyon City, Colorado, when I was in the 4th grade, the beginning of my 4th grade year. We put everything we had in storage with the understanding that it would be moved out to Colorado. So all we had to take out to Colorado with us was what would fit in our car. I had a couple of my dolls. I had some clothes. My mom must have known something was up because she took all of the family photos, and I praise the Lord that she did that because I have them today. and I wouldn't have them had she not taken them in the car with us. But we lived in Colorado until just before Christmas, and 1 week before Christmas, we moved to Florida with the understanding that our things would be moved now from Dothan, Alabama, which they were still in storage, to Florida, not very far at that point. And I was young, so I don't remember the timeline of everything, but after a few months, we were just told by my dad that we weren't going to be able to have our things. And my mom lost a beautiful bedroom set, her living room furniture, appliances, clothing, decorations. You know, she had worked to build a home, and she lost all of that. I lost a bedroom suit that a man in our church had custom built for me. And, but you know, my mom, I don't remember her honestly even shedding a tear over that stuff. I'm sure she did, but I don't remember her crying about it. I do just remember her saying how grateful she was that we were together. Stuff was just stuff. And it didn't matter. We were together. And it wasn't too long after that our family was no longer together. But I've thought about those things so many times. Where did they go? Who bought? You know, obviously it was sold at those things were sold at auction. But my mom began, and I would say even before that happened, but especially after that happened, my mom began to collect friends. My mom was a friend. She knew how to be a friend, and she collected friends. And in those years of her life where she was a single mom and then an older lady, an empty nester by herself, and then an older lady, her friendships were some of the most special possessions she had. And to this day, I am friends with her friends. She had friends in her church that my mom never drove a car, but her friends would come by. Her friend Sandy would come by and pick her up for church. Her friend Linda would come by and pick her up for church. And her friend Barbara. These people just loved her, and they really were more like sisters to her. Her friend Jean, they had been friends for over 50 years. And her friend Jean recently went to heaven, and they're in heaven together. And I'm sure they're having all kinds of fun baking and talking about all the things, and probably ending their conversations with "bless her heart." But I want that, and I began to make a conscious decision, and I had before my mom went to heaven in 2017, but even more so in the last few years. I want to cultivate friendships, those close relationships that really are more like sisters. I want to be a collector of friends, and I hope you will too.